Down to Watch strives to be a unique podcast dedicated to movies, TV, and music with a soft spot for cult classics. Join your hosts K and D for fun, games, and the occasional pop culture chatter. This is Down to Watch. Hello, and welcome to episode 12 of Down to Watch, where we talk about cult classic TV, movies, and music. Today, we are here to talk about specifically Netflix original series, Marvel's Daredevil. I'm Kay.
I'm D.
And D is back, guys. He's been gone for 2 episodes, but he's back.
Nobody missed it.
Lies. We just want, before we get into it, I want you all to know that there will be spoilers. Not a lot, but there will be. So if that sort of thing grates your cheese, you probably want to wait until you've watched all 13 episodes of Daredevil and then come back and you can listen. We'll still be here. You can please...
You only have 8 more months to do it.
Why so?
Because a new season's coming out.
2016.
That's right.
Yeah, dude. And so please... subscribe, rate, and review. Subscribe to us, rate, and review us on iTunes. Also follow us on Twitter at DTW Podcast and like Down to Watch Podcast on Facebook, please. So, and thank you for those who are already doing that. You guys are awesome. And so we've got this first segment here. We're calling it for today, or this is the second podcast where I've entitled it Nerdy News. Now, how do you feel about that segment? Name D.
I love alliteration.
Okay, so we're gonna keep it.
New nerdy news.
New nerdy news. Okay, all right. I can live with that. So new nerdy news.
Ta-da.
It's got. By the time you guys hear this podcast, it won't be new anymore. But Avengers is coming out Friday, and I'm super stoked about it. How are you feeling about it, D?
I don't know anything about it except for the fact that it's the Avengers.
Yeah, I don't know too much about the plot.
It's going to be Loki heavy again. I'm going to be upset.
I think it's supposed to be Iron Man heavy. I think that's the thing.
Yeah, Loki played it out the last 2.
Well, it was just one Avengers. He was in Thor and then the Avengers.
Yeah.
So
great actor, great character. We've seen enough of him.
Okay, fair enough. And in other nerdy news, Fight Club is getting a sequel as a comic.
Ooh.
I'm very excited about this. It's like, 10 years later for Tyler Durden, and he's married with kids and stuff. And
he didn't get institutionalized?
Apparently not. Or maybe he did. Maybe there's some backstory there, like before he got married and stuff. He spent some time in protective custody of sorts, and it was all better. But it looks like his old feelings and stuff are rising back, and so that's being released by Dark Horse, and Chuck Palahniuk, I'll never know how to say it. Palahniuk is returning as the writer, and joining him will be artist Cameron Stewart and colorist Dave Stewart.
Are they related? I
don't know. And to me, that doesn't mean a lot because I'm not a comic book. The
Stewarts are going to be on it.
I'm not super into comic books like that. I'm not really well versed. So I know there are some people who do care, and not to take away from the artist and colorist.
Cameron and Dave's mom.
Well, obviously, but not to take away from the artist and the colorist that that bring the comic books to life and the graphic novels to life. So I just thought they should get a shout out. And David Mack, whoever that is, will be doing the covers for each issue. I think everybody else seems to think that's...
Take me straight to Chasing Amy.
That's pretty important.
Chasing these characters. I'm not an outliner!
And that will be released on May 2nd, which is also... the first sampler, a 14-page sampler, will be released. And that's coincidentally also Free Comic Book Day. So...
Get a free comic book.
So hopefully, and once again, I think this episode will be out after all of that, so hopefully you guys picked up a copy, and if you did, please let us know how it is and what's going on. I'm more than likely going to try to find one when I get around to it because I'm a huge Fight Club movie fan. And
what about David Mack? Are we going to talk about David Mack?
What's talk about him?
He's doing the covers.
I said that.
You did?
Yeah.
I got lost in the Stewarts.
Okay. So there's that. So hopefully you guys picked up a copy of Fight Club, and you have also You also managed to, score big on Free Comic Book Day, which was May 2nd,
I can see the full feature film now.
of Fight Club 2.
as anime. And there's only one real
Ugh.
character, and that's Tyler Durden, who's played by, of course.
You think Brad Pitt could still pull it off?
He'd have to, right? No. It'd
No,
have to
because that was
be
his
Edward
imagination.
Norton.
It would have to be
Yeah.
Edward Norton. So he could totally have a new, younger
Different.
Tyler Durden.
Perhaps a dog named Wilford. Or a cat named Garfield. Bring Bill Murray back as Tyler Durden's new
Alter
existential-
ego.
Yeah.
Alter ego.
Yes. This
Al-
time it'll be Bill Murray.
I'd totally see that.
That'd be awesome.
I would totally watch that.
You need to relax and play a little golf.
That would be.
Wouldn't hurt to wear a clown nose every now and again, Mr. Serious. Why are you going to all these death groups? Seriously, man.
No, I would
Check out
totally
a
watch it.
Hooters.
So Bill Murray, if you happen to be listening, you should take a meeting with Chuck Palahniuk and see what you guys can do for Fight Club 2. And I'm sure David Fincher will be on board for that as well.
If they already wrote it, then it's ruined, in which case, Bill Murray, come see us. We will write you a Fight Club 3.
I smell a franchise coming.
That's right, the
That's
golden
like-
years.
If Furious 5 or Fast and Furious can keep going, there's going to be another one. There's one that's released now. I think that's number 6.
Yeah, like the Latin American
And then-
rock star from everywhere is going to be in it.
I don't know who that is.
I don't either.
And then so number 7, they've already planned. They're already planned. There's a number 7 going to come out next year. So I basically what they're telling us is, life as we know it, there will be another Fast and Furious every year from here on out.
Is there a video game that goes with this movie franchise?
Probably.
There should be.
I would imagine there is.
And where's Pac-Man 5?
Pac-Man 5 what?
Pac-Man versus Manhattan.
The movie or video
Yeah, the
game?
movie and
Where,
the
where
video
where was
game.
Pac-Man 1 through 4 movie?
It got lost. Part of the big takeover of computers. It
So-
got played, but by computers. So Pac-Man 5 is going to come out. Check it out. It's going to be Pac-Man versus Manhattan,
Okay.
clearly. He'll be chasing pizza slices until he finally gets to the apple, right?
Uh-huh.
Once he eats the apple,
Uh-huh.
game over for Manhattan. Pac-Man wins.
And the ghosts are just like random crackheads.
Probably retail stores that were relevant before Amazon.com.
Yeah, okay.
Like Macy's,
You've
the
thought
Jones
this-
store.
You've thought this through.
Those would be the ghosts. Saks Fifth Avenue is hanging on by one fur coat.
I'm sure there's somebody out there keeping sex in business.
Yeah, through estate sales. Anyway,
So if you
'Cause
guys
they're
have
dying
if you guys have any questions that you would like to send us that we will more than likely answer on air, and if you have any news that we should know about, anything happening in pop culture or anything fun or exciting, any new movies or video games or comic books that you guys are excited about, let us know. Go to Down to Watch Facebook page, or you could tweet us at DTW Podcast or email us at downtowatchpodcast@gmail.com.
we are so official.
I try to be.
You do good.
Thanks.
Let's get into the show.
All right, let's do that. Netflix original series Marvel's Daredevil. Daredevil, this was released in 2015 as a Netflix original, created by Drew Goddard, starring Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio, Deborah Ann Wall, Eldon Henson, Vondi Curtis Hall, and Rosario Dawson. Our personal history with the show. I did see the other Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck.
This wasn't a movie.
Well, the movie Daredevil with Ben Affleck and Colin Farrell and whoever played Elektra, I forget her name, Jennifer Garner, and yeah, I wasn't too impressed with it. I thought it kind of stunk. I never read any of the Daredevil comic books.
I'm pretty sure I took a flight during that time period in my life, in which case I'm sure I saw parts of Daredevil starring Ben Affleck.
So you saw it on a plane.
parts.
Yeah, that's pretty much all you. The only reason why I even saw it, and I'm pretty sure I went to the theater and saw it, was because Colin Farrell
I
was
saw
Bullseye.
ends of it maybe in a hotel room, parts of it on a plane.
You've seen
I
it.
heard its dialogue in an elevator
You've
instead
seen
of
it.
Muzak.
That
Yeah.
Ben Affleck sent you a tweet with some of the dialogue.
Yeah, this was like a time in Ben Affleck's career where he's still trying to come back from Jiggly.
Geely?
Yeah, that.
No, it wasn't, because this was before Geely. Because in this movie, I think is when he met Jennifer Garner, and he was married to her for a hot.
Really?
Or maybe I have it flipped up. I don't remember when he was with.
Jen Ben?
He was
Benji.
that twice, because he was with Garner and Lopez.
What is this guy, like a jelly? Like PB&J?
Actually, no, I'm wrong, because he's with Jennifer Garner now. Okay, my apologies.
Peanut butter and
So you're right. So he's probably, yes.
Yeah,
He's probably coming back from
It was
Geely.
just weird. Like, there's like, I don't know, some high-level demon still in charge in Hollywood that's like, look, we have this dude's soul. We might as well try for the Marvel franchise. You know how those guys like to test case a movie before they do something serious. We have this time on his contract. We did a Hulk already. Let's do a Daredevil. Let's throw Ben Affleck and Jen Gardner. Their names rhyme. We have to cast it. And then, like, over some heavy-handed margaritas at brunch, this deal was done. And I saw, this is what I know of Daredevil. This is my history. It's not with the movie.
Daredevil as the character?
The hero.
Okay.
I knew he was blind.
Mm.
I got him confused with Flash a lot because I wasn't sure if he ran fast.
Okay.
Because he had the same kind of outfit as Flash.
Okay.
Kind of a leathery deal with some pointy stuff on the head and.
Oh yeah, I guess
some
Flash
pointy
has
stuff
those
on the ankles.
lightnings or something.
Yeah, lightning
bolts.
Yeah, right. It's easy to confuse the lightning bolts and the little horns because
True.
otherwise, essentially, they're dudes that have red suits that weren't on.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just telling you, as a child, and I had my plastic figurines. They didn't even move. They were just like mold. And I had Flash, I had Daredevil, I had Batman, and I would play with them. And Daredevil and Flash, to me, were interchangeable. I didn't know much of the backstory with Daredevil, except I knew he was blind. I always assumed that he was, like, related to or friends with Evel Knievel.
Because of the suit?
No, because of the name.
Oh.
Daredevil. Because I also had Evel Knievel figurines. And so Evel Knievel and Daredevil oftentimes would gang up on Flash because he wasn't really, like, he didn't have stunts.
But he ran fast.
Yeah, but he couldn't, like, jump through a flame of fire. He couldn't he couldn't jump a Grand Canyon, no hoops of fire, no shark tanks. None of the stuff you'd expect from a Daredevil. Now, oddly enough, this TV show, which apparently shows the real comic, which I never read, of Daredevil, this guy's a lawyer for a living.
Affleck was as such in the movie, too.
Yeah, right. Which, this guy, this Chuck Cock guy...
It's not okay.
He chose that name. That's
not
probably
choose
not
that
even
name.
his real name. And he's like, yeah, I want to be Charlie Cox.
He did not
Just
choose
like
that
the tuna. Sorry, Charlie.
Oh.
Charlie Cock.
So what were you getting into about?
He seems like he'd be a lawyer. Ben Affleck, not so much. Think they had it right in Good Will Hunting. He doesn't strike me as white-collar worker. Just, it's hard to cast, I think, Ben Affleck as a Richard Gere in Pretty Woman. There'll be no remake starring Ben Affleck as Richard Gere.
Gear.
Yeah, whatever his name is.
I'm not a really big Ben Affleck fan to begin with.
No, right. So, like, from what I remember, he was a lawyer.
Yeah.
The most convincing thing he did was a flip on a seesaw. This guy, Charlie Cox, he played a pretty good lawyer. I'd like to say, though, I'm very happy to see that Groucho Marx's eyebrows are back in business on this guy.
On Charlie?
Yes. The Groucho brows are totally back in business in this sequel.
Do you hate Charlie?
No, I don't hate Charlie. I'm saying that he has... For a dude that has to wear sunglasses, they did a good job casting this actor with physical traits such as very pronounced lips and very pronounced eyebrows because they cover his eyes.
True.
So he has to convey emotion. The dude spends half of each show with a mask covering his eyes and head. So he's got to have something. He's got like a big nose. He's got big lips. He's got huge eyebrows. He's like a puppet.
Yeah.
Muppet.
Well, interesting about him because as we were watching it, I couldn't place him in anything else. I just thought he was some newcomer that came on board, but apparently he was on Boardwalk Empire.
Cox is not a newcomer.
No, he was on.
He's on
Can't stand
Boardwalk
you.
Empire. Right. Again, he chose this name.
I wonder if he's related to Courtney Cox. But so he was on Boardwalk Empire as I don't know. I'm not even gonna pretend like I remember anybody's name, but I remember what role he played. He was like one of Nucky's wives' helpers or something like that, or whatever. But
Was he the tough guy, Irish guy?
yeah.
There you go. That kind of fell in love with Nucky's wife for
Yeah.
a second, hot second.
See, you remember a lot more than you let on to remember about movies and about life in general.
Go figure.
Oh, look at me. No, I don't remember anything. Lies.
That's my superhero, ignoramus.
So anyway, I came into watching the show only because Vincent D'Onofrio, because I heard that he was going to play the villain.
Let's get to the good stuff.
All right, so let's talk about our characters. So I guess we've discussed Matt Murdock, a.k.a. Daredevil, real name Charlie Cox.
Does he do his own stunts? Because if so, that is also doubly impressive.
I don't know. That is a good question.
Because the fight
Choreography
is amazing in this. I have to say, it's probably some of my... It looks kind of like capoeira, kind of like gymnastics. There's a lot of helicopter kicks. He's a big fan of that move.
Yeah. I'm just looking up right now to see if maybe I could find something real. Nope. It looks like somebody named Chris Brewster is his stunt double.
There you go.
But
All right.
I'm sure he knows a little. He has to do a little bit of something. He's probably not doing all the hardcore things, but nothing to take away from him. No, I like the fact that they did not get like some overly like buff, crazy, veiny.
Yeah, I'm watching
dude.
this thing. I'm like, I'm the same size as that dude. There's no way I could beat up that guy.
Well, of course you could.
No,
it's just all
not
about
Vincent,
he's,
not evil Vincent D'Onofrio. First of
like-
all, an angry Vincent D'Onofrio has me cowering in the corner. I don't care how fit I am at the time.
I feel like you could just take him in a bear hug and just like hold on to him anyway.
No, you'll lose that fight. No, I'm cowering in the corner. I'm running. I'm finding a smaller place that Vincent's huge hands can't get into. He did such a good job. I just want to talk about him.
About Vincent?
I'm just going to shut up and let you get through the rest of get to Jessica.
Okay, yeah.
from
Vincent's
True
number
Blood.
4 on the list. So I mean, we're not gonna have much to say about the other two. Okay, just it's okay. So Charlie Cox, I like what he is doing with this performance. I don't know, like he's definitely not overbearing, and he's got this nice, real stable thing about him when he's just Matt Murdock, as opposed to like when he goes over to and he
I
dresses
think
up as
it's
a
kind of on
Daredevil.
purpose. I think they're like, okay, he has to be the least interesting character.
No,
'Cause
and
it's like the
but I like
typical
that.
kind of superhero.
The unassuming.
Yeah, like Batman's not that interesting. Alfred, fascinating. Villains that Batman fights, fascinating. Allies that sometimes he might take, fascinating. Similarly, Daredevil, I've had saltine crackers more interesting than this guy. You know, and even when he puts on the little mask and everything, it's
His
not that
do-rag.
interesting. You know, it's just, and his whole premise and plot, not that interesting.
What, the fact that he's enraged, why he came to be Daredevil,
Yeah.
how he came to be.
Yeah. Well, sorry, not interested. You know, it's just not that compelling. What's most interesting about him is the characters that surround him and the villain that he fights.
It's like mostly hometown pride. That's what drives him.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
That's basically
Yeah.
what it is.
You know, and then it's funny too. It's like this little formula they like to do in Stan Lee land, where it's like radioactivity and science. Yeah, let's build a character based on radioactivity and science, and then like fill in the blank every single thing that ever came out of Stan Lee's head. This one, the science part is that when people are blind, and I would like to increase the visibility on blindness, and I'd like to say that Daredevil does a very good job of showing
Did
this.
you just say increase the visibility on blindness?
That's right. It's one of those things a lot of people don't see, but blindness is a big deal. It affects a lot of people's lives, such as Daredevil. And it's the whole idea that if you lose your sight, then you have increased touch and smell and taste and hearing, or you lose your hearing and you have and that's real. That happens.
Right.
So Stanley took that. And he's like, let's throw some radioactive chemicals on his eyes too.
Let's pump it up a couple notches.
Right, yeah, exactly. And like this kid gets hit by a truck and somehow only got splashed in the eyes with this chemical as they showed the scene, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't covered in this
Truth,
liquid. It
there
was
was
only
like-
just on his
There
eyes.
were like
as though
5
somebody took
billion barrels of this stuff.
right, teaspoons and strategically got them on his eye, and that was it.
Maybe that's what season 2 touches on. Who did that?
the
Like,
strategic placement
who
of
came
the
over?
chemical.
Who came over and
after
just
the,
spooned?
after the truck wreck
Right.
and spooned it onto his eyes because that was it. That was all he had on him. In any event, you see so they took those 2, and then like the other thing is like he's got 2 sticks. That's his weaponry. He's like badass by himself, but with those 2 sticks, he's unstoppable.
Now I'm really confused as to are those sticks like electric? Because I thought weren't they like spewing off sparks or something? Is there something more to them?
No.
I swear I saw sparks.
If there is, I totally didn't get it or see it or ever remember Daredevil having, like, yes, he had a blind stick, and maybe he turned his blind stick into a weapon of sorts. Yeah, like them chucks, or I'm sure there's a name for it.
Katanas?
Katanas, sure. I don't know if that's right, but sure, we'll go with that.
I'm gonna go with that.
And then this, I don't know. Like, basically, all of season 1, I enjoyed it deeply, and I enjoyed it deeply because of the cast of characters around Daredevil. The whole season was about him letting his friends know that he was the Daredevil and then getting the costume. Because it's like, you're not really a superhero unless you've got followers and a costume, like in a good costume, like a specially made secret ancient system of costume.
Well, the neat part about his costume, how it came to be, was that it was actually the same material that Wilson Fisk used on his suits to make himself like
A little
impenetrable.
stab proof?
Yeah, sort of.
Slice
And
proof.
he like went to his tailor and had him do the same thing, but once again bumped it
With
up like
red
20
leather.
notches. So I apparently, like, the guy also did some S&M type costumes as well.
The
Just gotta
costume,
put it together.
like when he comes out in his costume at the very end,
That's terrible.
the only thing I hear is everybody wants to rule the world.
Why?
Because
you think that's what's
because
that's
I
the-
think
that's what he put in his
that's what he's got in his little horn headphones is Tears for Fears. Everybody wants to rule the world. That guy put on that outfit, danced around in the mirror with his blind seeing self, and then he went onto the roof and was like, "I look good in this," because it doesn't look good.
No, and I would be able to overlook most of the suit if it weren't for those horns on the head. That's what really makes me crazy.
The pants
I don't.
make no sense.
It's the horn. The horns are just really make it ridiculous. So okay, so moving on. So from old Charlie. Long story short, Charlie's doing a good thing. He's doing a good job. We appreciate
He's
it.
making his fellow actors shine.
Deborah Ann Wall playing Karen Page. This is the young lady that they help out in their very first case, or the first episode. They're also their first cases, 2 brand new lawyers. And so, they save her life, and so she comes and works for them as their, I don't know, paralegal? Is that right?
We'll go with squatter. I think is her official title. Not really sure what she does. She went and bought some equipment from like 5 decades ago.
Charged it to their account.
Charged it to their account. And is otherwise doing a lot of breaking and entering and getting people killed.
Yeah, so she's playing like, this girl who like supposedly like wide-eyed and just wants things to be right, and I can't
I
deal
keep
with.
waiting for her to fang out and suck Foggy dry.
So for those of you who don't know or don't remember, Deborah Ann Wall was Jessica on True Blood for a few seasons, and I really liked her as Jessica
She was
on
great.
True Blood.
And I don't want to let it go. I don't care that she's in Daredevil now. I want to see Jessica.
Truth.
Hmm.
But yeah, she's kind of distracting in this, and not like in a good way. Not like, oh god, she's just doing so well. I can't. It's like she's kind of she's not matching up with the tone with the rest of the.
Again, the whole Daredevil franchise I'm feeling wasn't as well thought out. This guy's like Bruce Wayne. He's got a trust fund. Parents died due to crime. Except this guy can't see. He's a vigilante, full of rage, will probably kill people someday. And then you've got Karen Page, who's just like damsel in distress.
All the time.
Kind of likes the main hero, kind of likes the sidekick. You know, I can't decide if she's pretty or not at all during this particular season. I'm just seeing like this kind of pathetic wannabe, too young to know any better kind of. They didn't think this character out. There's not a lot of well-roundedness to this character. She's damsel in distress.
Yeah, from what I've seen, she's caused more harm.
She
than
pushes
anything.
the plot forward.
Well, there's also a lot of time she spent on screen, and her and the reporter Ben telling us things that we've already seen, like
Yeah,
reiterating
it's like-
what's going on there.
It's like they just decided character development is not something we're going to talk about.
Yeah, because we don't really know too much about her past.
And we don't really have to get too much in plot either.
Okay, so
really what we've got going on here is an awesome villain
right,
and an awesome
so basically,
sidekick.
they were
Because
like,
Foggy
wait, I'm still. We still got Deborah. Just one thing about Deborah.
Okay, fine. These boring people.
But no, this is about Deborah, not Karen.
Oh.
Her real life
Sorry.
boyfriend is blind.
Oh.
So I just thought that was a neat little fact
She's probably
there.
trying to bring some awareness.
He suffers from a hereditary condition, and I don't know how to say it. It's called choroideremia, maybe, which slowly blinded him. And she also works with nonprofits and stuff to help raise awareness for it.
There you go.
And also a condition which uses her boyfriend's condition as an inspiration for her own battle against celiac disease. So I guess she has something called celiac disease. Do you know what that is?
Nope.
So that's just a little something about Deborah that I thought was interesting, a little tidbit. But yeah, so Karen as a character, meh.
She needs. I mean, but there's room for it to grow. Obviously, like
Yeah.
I didn't like the first season of Buffy the Vampire Slayer either,
Right.
but I love that whole franchise and series.
Right.
And it could very well be that Daredevil was like the necessary kind of
We
setting
gotta
you
lay
up.
everything out for you
Yes,
first.
you know, baby step, and set your expectation here because awesome things are going to happen in the next season. And
It's like the first
I
time.
believe that because there's great casting. I mean, these actors that they chose are amazing, and I'm a little. Part of my angst is the fact that like they didn't get a full range of what these actors could bring, and maybe that's just wishful thinking. That's not something one should expect from a first season.
Well, it's like the first time you open up and play a board game. Like, you know, there's time you're setting it up. You're like taking all the pieces apart and taking off plastic, reading instructions. There's not much fun that first hour.
I'll give you that.
So, yeah. All right. That's cool. All right. So moving on to Foggy. What's his real name?
His real name is Foggy Nelson.
He says with all seriousness.
The most character development that we've gotten to so far. This guy went from being like Matt Murdock's little happy
Eldon Henson.
sidekick to like, I have principles and this is, you know, we got to have a meeting of the minds. And I liked his backstory. I wish they would have spent more time on Foggy Nelson in his law school days than they would have in Matt Murdock in his, apparently, the show Arrow. It's like, you know, we done that. We did the whole like survivalist camp, and it wasn't even that. It was like some blind guy shows up and is his Mr. Miyagi, and again, not that deeply written.
No, that's true. I almost completely forgot about that episode. But
it was more than one episode. They peppered stick throughout.
yeah, I know. But back to your backstory for.
Okay, so
Foggy.
Eldon Henson is the actor's name.
Right. I want to ask you a question. What did you think about the episode Nelson versus Murdock when they?
Oh, I loved
when they
it.
Got
I
into
thought
the
that was
backstory?
great. That was probably of all the superhero little buddy ones of the coming out. Like that was I appreciate it because I'm a lawyer, you know. So I'm like, yeah, you tell him you're a vigilante outside the law. There's plenty of room inside the law. The law. I'm one of those people that believes that there's always an answer in the law.
So you feel like Foggy was totally justified in reacting the way that he did?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, if they were waiters, not so much. That wasn't their freaking career. They were lawyers. They took an oath. They're supposed to stick to it.
Job. Obey the law.
Defend it. Use it. Expand it.
Some folks may recognize Foggy from just about every 90s teen movie that was out there. But more recently, he was in The Hunger Games Mockingjay. He was one of the... I always forget
Early kills.
No, he was like with the video crew that goes with her back to District 12, and he was the mute. He had his tongue cut off, but he was like really sweet and like told her to sing, asked her to sing for him. And so yeah, but yeah, Foggy is great comic relief. There's sometimes I wish they would tone down the one-liners just a little bit, just a pinch. Just
and the drinking problem.
Yeah, he definitely
like
has that.
Orders a whole bottle of whiskey. He doesn't just go to the bar and get a glass of whiskey. He goes to the bar and they like, here's your bottle.
Right.
And he doesn't go home till the bottle's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
That's messed up.
He's got a problem.
Yeah.
And what's funny is like they only addressed it once, and like the first time he takes Karen to the bar and he's like, "Oh, we've had this bottle for X amount of however long." Lies, because they keep finishing it. And so I think they're trying to allude to the fact that, oh, they're drinking out of the same bottle. No, they keep finishing it every time.
No, we noticed.
Okay. So, I don't know. I'm enjoying Eldon in this role.
Yeah.
Do you have anything more would you like to add about Foggy?
No, but when we get to this next one, I think the first few times we shouldn't mention his name.
Why shouldn't we mention his name?
Because they don't mention his name in the show.
I know, for like the first 4 episodes.
I don't want to die.
He's not going. Vincent D'Onofrio or...
Vincent D'Onofrio is totally cool, but nonetheless, Vincent D'Onofrio is showing up as and being all whack shit crazy.
Which I love!
Yeah, even everything. The way he talks, the way he doesn't talk, the way he looks, the way he doesn't look. It's just everything. Vincent is just owning this role.
He commands every scene.
Yeah.
Like, he can't just sit there and hang out
They
in
should
the
call
corner.
it the Wilson Fisk show.
You've said it.
He won't kill me for that. That's all love. Wilson knows love. Give him a little Zupa cake.
But, yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio is just like... And it's not even... This is something a little bit different of a villain that I've seen before, where he's got like this really calm, quiet rage going on, and then he will like flip out immediately. But it's just the way that he's doing it. I don't think I've seen that in a villain on screen before. He's just like this. It's almost like a symphony. Like,
people who want to be villains that are in acting school right now, you're going to have to study him. You have to study Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk, because there's no villain like him. He makes me feel alone.
The most beautiful part about it is that they tease the audience for like 2 solid episodes before they even say his actual, before we even see him. Like, I think we see the back of his head at the end of episode 3.
Yeah.
And then it's like still another 3 more episodes till they actually say his name.
Yeah.
And he's got like this his sidekick,
Wesley,
James Wesley, who goes around and, you know, does his
business,
his PR for him
administration
and stuff. Yeah, you know, takes care of things, you know, handles his conferences and whatnot. And I'm still not quite clear what Fisk's motivation is. Is it just that is just bottom line?
Well, that's
he
a cool
wants
thing.
he wants Hell's Kitchen to be a better place, and he's just going about it the wrong way,
or the right way. See, that's the cool thing about Wilson Fisk is, of all the villains, they make you. There's more backstory on him, and he's more of a rounded out character than any villain I've ever come across. Because you kind of like him, because they show you that he's just like, you know, fat little kid with a bully of her father, and that's what turns him. And then you see him like want to have that human connection and fall in love. And there's all this stuff where it's like, wow, normally you don't get to see that side of the villain. You know, if a villain's got a special lady in his life, it's like
she's just as
a
crazy,
trophy, or she's just as bonkers as hell.
right.
And like he really loves this woman,
Right.
and they establish the love story in such a sincere way that you just like you love them both. Like they are so interesting. The villains here, quote unquote, you know, and really that's the thing that I will say that they did do well with the plot, which is, you know, Daredevil, as opposed to the other superheroes, is like questionably, are you really making this a better place, or are you just screwing things up?
You're just kind of getting in the way.
You know, like, seriously, dude, like, the world would probably be all right if you just stayed the hell home.
Right.
And didn't put on the mask and get in the middle of everything. And I think that's just Daredevil's plot in the universe of superheroes. He should be doing his day job, being a lawyer, and he could really impact the world better that way. But he's compelled to throw fisticuffs and put on the mask and be a vigilante. And I think it's intentional. I don't think it's supposed to come off admirably.
For Daredevil?
I think Daredevil's plot in the world of superheroes is like, you're one of those dudes that maybe should have just stayed in the gym, been an amazing blind guy in the gym, inspirational to other blind people and lawyers for that matter. Like you could have done so much more in the world, not hiding and putting on the mask and beating up criminals and obstructing justice, essentially, in police investigations.
Yeah, it's really...
and the rationale that, you know, everybody's on Fisk's payroll. I mean, if that was a novel plot approach, then yeah, sure, great. But it's not.
But it's really not, because and at the point where Fisk is finally captured and he's in the police car, it seems to be evenly split, like the police force. Like we've got Fisk's payroll and then the guys who are actually doing their jobs. So it's not like, you know, everybody was on his payroll.
Yeah, right.
And it just...
And the Daredevil tipped the balance. No, that's not what happened.
Yeah, that's weird. But back to Vincent. He's just... like you were saying, his love story, he's very shy, like when he meets her, and he has no idea how to act around a woman or how to take her out to dinner, and it's this endearing, like little sweet side, and it's very hard. You find it very hard not to like him, and it's crazy.
Man can make an omelet.
How well.
Those little chives.
He's
that's
got
the other
this
thing. There's a couple of directing devices.
Oh,
that
it's
rely
beautiful.
On very heavily. Yeah, there's some beauty into it too, but there's also kind of like, okay, look, you can't open another one of these shows with somebody waking up. Stop with the waking up. We get it. Very powerful metaphor.
I'm not talking about, like, you know, when they went through the whole thing about
9 times out of 13 shows, somebody wakes up. And that's how they start the show.
Fisk's daily ritual. Yeah. You know, and they show that, you know, he makes his omelet and blah, blah, blah. And he goes through all of his black suits and picks that, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, that first night, Vanessa, I think is her name.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's how I feel about his rituals.
Okay.
Go on.
All right.
First night, he wakes up.
The first night when Vanessa has stayed over with him, and then he goes to go through his rituals again, and it's apparent that she's inserted herself into them, and you see that difference. Like now he's making 2 omelets. Now she's like eating part of his omelet at the table, and now she's helping him pick out a lighter color suit, and she's like pulls out like a little nice handkerchief for him, a kerchief, and it's just a nice little touch to see that contrast now as to where his mindset might be moving to. I don't know. It's just something that I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Note.
He beat the crap out of the Daredevil. That was kind of awesome. Picked him up like a little toy, threw him across the room.
One of the best moments for Wilson Fisk is his Samaritan speech that he gives at the end there when he's in the back of the police van, and you think that he's been caught. The audience is supposed to think that, oh, this is the end for him, and he's back there and he's talking about how, you know, this story, this parable from the Bible about a man who was walking through and yada yada, and I won't go through it, but then you see that you start to realize, oh no, something big is about to happen. Something's about to go down.
Oh yeah, he
And
starts getting biblical like Sam Jackson in
right.
Pulp Fiction.
And I came across a couple other things. It's like a lot of times every time in movies when a villain or just about anybody, when they start quoting Bible verses, that's when stuff is really about to happen. They're about to just go off on everybody.
Yep.
I think it happened in Book of Eli. There's like a character in Saving Private Ryan who like says Bible verses. He's a sniper, and every time he snipes someone, so look out for that Samaritan speech, because that's when things get really great, and that's when the pickup really happens. I think this is like episode 12, maybe 13, and what really
Right.
like we've put all of our pieces in place, and Fisk has been established as like a hard hitter and someone not to be trifled with, and I cannot wait to see where his story goes.
But still
next.
vulnerable.
Still vulnerable because he was very much concerned about he had an escape plan for Vanessa if he were to get caught.
Yeah, and he seems to respect his business partner,
Which one?
Ma,
Oh, the
the old Chinese,
Chinese
lady.
lady. Well, she seems like she fought Daredevil, didn't she?
She
She basically she pushed him.
She Buddha palmed him.
Like, and got rid of him very quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's gonna have some respect for that lady.
Yep. So Rosario Dawson plays like, here's the thing about Daredevil. On the one hand, it's like
Nurse Lady Temple.
blind guy, totally could be independent, but he's still dependent on people as Daredevil. Because he's totally dependent on his buddy Foggy. He's totally dependent on Karen. He's totally dependent on Rosario Dawson's character. What's her name?
Claire Temple.
Claire Temple. Claire stitches him up after he gets his butt whooped. Because he doesn't have superhuman healing powers and stuff like that. He's
just a regular old Joe with a do-rag.
Yeah, that can like basically heat sense.
Okay, that's what we're going with? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that, all right. That'll explain it. I can take that. I'll take that and run, because I was very confused about what he could and couldn't see.
Yeah, what I don't understand is like the occasional impression that he has super strength. Like, I understand super hearing. I understand the heat sensing thing. But then there's a couple of things that just make no sense. Like, he walks into a room without touching anything, and somebody's like, what do you have in the room? And he's like, 12 nails.
I was a little...
in a cupboard.
But it wasn't, and that's like the worst part. It wasn't even like he walked in the room when that happened, because even then I would have bought that.
Yeah,
Had he walked in the room, okay, maybe he
bumped into a table, heard a
something.
shingle or something.
I'll buy
Any
that.
Rain Man-esque explanation.
He was sitting there, nothing had moved, and so stuff like that's bugging me about what his abilities are.
I can tell from the smell that there's 12 nails. I mean, there's like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the Daredevil franchise was the least well thought out. I really feel like they're like, we'll take some science and radioactivity and, we'll make it like Bruce Wayne, but not exactly like Bruce Wayne. Like Spider-Man, but not exactly like Spider-Man. To make sure people don't think we're ripping off Spider-Man, who's all about his neighborhood. Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man from New York. This guy's Hell's Kitchen. He's just a different part of the river. It's like, okay, we got the Brooklyn Bronx crew.
They're covered. So we're just Hell's Kitchen is unattended.
Got to do something for Hobart and Hell's Kitchen. right, exactly. So, Superman clearly has Manhattan.
What about the poor people of Hell's Kitchen?
There's Gotham, which is Wall Street. That's Batman.
Okay.
So got to do something.
So basically, New York is covered.
New York is
good.
like the safest place in the world to be, or
the worst place to be if you're a villain,
or the best place to be if you're a villain.
I guess it depends on
how you gonna shine unless you've got worthy opponents. Goes back to the whole, would we have a Joker if there wasn't a Batman?
Probably.
I don't know.
You mean just in theory? Like, would there be a Joker in that universe? Sure, there would.
They made it seem like everything escalated because Batman had escalated.
I feel like no. The Dark Knight Rises, the Joker was doing his thing, man.
I'm going off the Tim Burton version. Just because I can. Because Michael Keaton's from Pittsburgh.
I don't even remember that.
Deal with it. Michael Keaton trump card. All right, so maybe not. Anyway, Rosario Dawson, when I see her up on the screen, all I can think of is that little skin flick she did with Edward Norton.
A skin flick she did with Edward Norton? What is that?
You know, you made me watch it.
Edward Norton?
Yep.
Are you sure?
Yep. Nope. Yep. Yes.
I think I remember.
Definitely no.
I remember a movie where she showed a lot of skin.
Yeah. That wasn't Edward Norton?
I doubt it. I don't even remember the name of the movie, though.
Either way.
So that's all you can think of now. I think most men, when they look at Rosario Dawson, just think of her naked
First
anyway.
there was Grindhouse, and then there was like, whoa, hey, whoa, TMI.
Trance was the movie, and the gentleman was James McAvoy. Not Edward Norton.
Do they look alike?
No.
Oh, well.
So there's that. So I guess the last two folks in the cast here, we've got Toby Leonard Moore, who plays James Wesley, and sadly he meets his demise. But the best thing that Karen did was shoot Wesley point blank and murder him.
Yeah, I want to get back to Rosario Dawson now.
It sounded like you were done.
No.
Okay.
Okay, so Matthew Murdock, blind, can see heat,
Mm-hmm.
and yet somehow manages to resist Miss Dawson.
I think she's the one resisting him.
Oh yeah, you don't think he's resisting her?
No, I think she's
She's like, you have to stop being a crazy
yeah,
ass vigilante.
basically. She's like, I'm not doing this with you.
Yeah.
What I won't
do. It's great to see you without your shirt on and holes in you.
Yeah, I think she's being the smart one there.
Okay. Well, he's an idiot. He should definitely break up with being a vigilante and go out
Break up with Daredevil.
With Rosario. I'm telling you, that's the smarter move. She was great in Grindhouse.
Yes, she was.
It would be better if she wasn't there as a character. I think if she was there as herself.
I like her character.
Yeah, her character is great. Claire Temple, the do-good nurse with, a little bit of a street edge to her.
I like how she, when she found him in the dumpster, she brought him up and everything. And
it's just like Better Off Dead. Somebody threw away a perfectly good white boy. It's a damn shame.
Okay, so are we done with Rosario? Because I don't really have that much. I don't really have that much to say about the other two, anyway, which were on the list before Rosario, which you skipped before we got to her.
Toby Leonard Moore. What else was he in?
I don't know. He was in John Wick.
Okay. Was he a bad guy?
Yeah. He
Great.
was like one of the.
Yeah, I was expecting more out of James Wesley, the character.
Yeah, I thought
I was waiting for there to be like a huge throwdown between him and Daredevil, of which he beat Daredevil to within an inch of his life.
That's what I thought would happen.
And
I was hoping.
No, he gets killed by Karen.
Which, good for her. Yeah, she stood up for herself because he was going to straight up kill her. But on the second thought, it's like, that's a waste.
There should have been a scene where they showed the power and range of James Wesley before they killed him.
Right, because why did Fisk trust him so much?
Yeah, why was he my friend?
Yeah.
He was my friend.
We never got to really see why.
Yeah.
And their relationship ran so deep.
I hope they bring him back for some flashback. Like, there's going to be, I think, and again, I'm speculating, there's going to be a parallel story, I think. You can't just have Vincent D'Onofrio killing this character and then be like, okay, we're not going to use him for the rest of this series.
Vincent D'Onofrio?
Yeah, like they need to bring him
No, he's
back.
definitely coming back.
And so when they bring him back, maybe there'll be a backstory about
Wesley?
how, he and James Wesley met. Maybe James Wesley and his backstory will get told, because really, how far can you take the Stick backstory?
Yeah.
That's been done. Stick's got a future story. He's like aligned with somebody like Ra's al Ghul or something like that. I totally am mixing up my DC and Marvel comic metaphors. I'm sorry for the purists out there.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about.
So so bringing Fisk back to, he's got plenty of reasons to have for Daredevil to be his new nemesis and to like be focused on getting him back for the death of his friend Wesley, for separating him from Vanessa, for ruining all of his plans, for having him incarcerated. So the list goes on, and I think, and I could be wrong, but I think he changes his name to Kingpin. Like he starts to be known as Kingpin in the next series, because
that would make sense.
because I think that was his character's name in the movie, and it might be in the comic, or like that's what they call him. So
Comes
I don't know.
back. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's talk about Vondi Curtis Hall.
Okay.
And Ben Urich. Ben is played basically like a traditional Greek tragedy play. Well, he was the seer. He was the journalist. He saw the truth.
Yeah.
And when they killed him off and he's dead, then it's like nobody can find their way anymore.
Or that was supposed to be like the driving force that pushed Daredevil over the edge. Like, I have to kill him now because he killed Ben.
Yeah, he was our only chance at, revealing him in the light and shining the truth on it. But then Wilson Fisk subverted the media. Like, he kind of took that traditional role of truth seeker, truth sayer, and was like, in this modern world with media and newspapers that are easily bought out and corruptible, you can play it. Which was, I think is a relevant statement on today's state of media. But I really, as an allegory, Ben was the truth sayer. And then Ben did not survive in this world.
But what was sad is that they never really gave him a chance to illustrate. All you keep hearing about is how great of a reporter he was and all this stuff that he's done in the past and done in the past. They should have at least been allowed to have let him hit send on write the story on blog and then hit send.
The book Save the Cat, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Ben is a cat in this series, but it's not Save the Cat, it's Kill the Cat. They made you care about Ben and his sick wife and all this other stuff for what? Just so you would care about him, and then when he died, you'd be pissed off.
I really
Kill the cat,
though. Like, I was like, meh. Because he didn't really do it. He contributed nothing.
Well, that's why they played up the whole backstory of his wife. Like, his wife was depending on him.
But it turns out not so much, because he set her up with some sort of life insurance policy at the end, so she was fine. But but
note to self,
he just never had a chance to actually like shine, and he kept getting knocked down. I just feel like it would have been a little more powerful or made more sense if he was at least allowed to have released one story with the truth, and then Fisk kill him. Sure, okay, fine. But it also is like all of his investigating. Karen is the one that got him to Fisk's mom, and he still didn't even know like what was happening, and it was just like,
wait.
So I don't know. He just kind of seemed like a waste of his character was wasted.
It was a good waste of a formidable brow.
Does he also
Vondi
have
Curtis
a formidable
Hall,
brow?
Formidable brow.
Okay, so that's all the characters.
Well played. I mean, I think Vondi Curtis Hall was, again, an interesting character because he was so well played.
He was underutilized.
Yeah, but underutilized.
Which is a shame. Okay, so, we've pretty much, I think we've gone through it here. I do really enjoy the style in which the show is filmed. It's like very gritty and like a neo-noir type thing. I love that, the darkness. It's not, I like the fact that it's not like super colorful, like poppy type comic book range, and it's very visually appealing. And speaking of the direction, like that, if you watch nothing else of this show, of the Daredevil series, watch episode 2 in the hallway fight scene.
When he's really tired.
It's amazing.
He's like drunken master.
But it's shot so well. And it gives the illusion, I don't know if it actually was done in one take, but it gives the illusion that it was all done in one take. And they utilized this way of, there's this way of like, the camera never leaves the hallway. And so like when the action moves into one of the other rooms in the hallway, you're relied upon just audio. And then sometimes, random people get thrown out. And that's like the beauty of it. Like you don't see, the camera doesn't take you into the other rooms where the fight is happening. Like Daredevil is like fighting probably like I don't know 10 dudes throughout this thing, and it's kind of reminiscent of Old Boy. There's this hallway fight scene where there's like Old Boy is fighting probably like 30 dudes, and the way that they were instead of being in the hallway with them, we're like on the sidelines watching, and you just see the action like progress forward. I think the only problem that I might have technically is maybe the pacing in some of the stories.
Yeah.
But then again, it's also like they can kind of get away with it because it's meant for binge watching. Like all the episodes were released at one time, and it's not like they're waiting for people or needing people to come back every week for the next episode.
Yeah, but you remember, did you read comics in the paper that would come?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have a weekly comic that you read?
Not like a episodic one. Like, I would read the Peanuts or Grimm, Mother Goose and Grimm.
Okay.
Like those, but I remember seeing those ones.
Not like Valiant Prince or Brenda Starr or Spider-Man. Yeah, the pacing of this TV series has similar pacing of like the newspaper comic series. It's like where really nothing happens. Well, one thing happens. Mm-hmm. And then the next week, one more thing happens. Yeah. And it's just like, in this day and age, seriously, the unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt is going to crush you, Daredevil. Kimmy Schmidt versus Daredevil. Kimmy Schmidt wins. That is moving. That is moving. She eats some waffles. She eats some muffins. She sees some rock and roll. She gets a job. She goes roller skating. There's stuff happening to Kimmy Schmidt. There is nothing happening to the Daredevil. It's just like things happen to Hell's Kitchen. And then he goes out and
Daredevil
does his little bit, makes like it.
Whooped several times.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other kind of sad anti-hero thing. The Murdock story. His dad, the boxer that, used to get paid to take a fall.
Right.
And then doesn't take a fall and gets killed. Spoiler. Meanwhile, his son inherits his dad's
ability to take a punch.
Ability to take a punch. Right? That's his other superhuman power. Right? I get my ass beat a lot.
1 to 5, what would you give it?
I give it a 3.
A 3?
Now, if I'm just going off Vincent D'Onofrio, I'd give it a 5. Seriously, again, students of villainry, study Wilson Fisk character, study Vincent D'Onofrio's delivery. He is awesome.
Most definitely.
And the casting, again, the actors, I don't blame any of the actors. The actors are doing a fine job. The writing, the directing, you need to tighten up your game. You've got amazing cinematography. You've got amazing fight choreographers, sequences, whatever. You've got amazing actors. Use them. Let your writing rely on what can be shown. You don't need to hold our hand. You don't need to walk us through it.
Right.
Real slow like. I mean, freaking pick up the pace, people. This is the internet age. Pick it up. It's my 2 cents.
Okay. Will you watch season 2 when it comes?
Yes, I will, and I'll be rooting for the careers of everybody who committed to this project and be harsh on the writers and directors and the showrunner.
I think...
Who's the showrunner? Let's call him out right now.
I don't know.
Showrunner, you know who you are. We're coming after you, Rip.
I don't... I agree with a 3-star rating. That seems fair. It seems accurate, especially considering that, had it been... If it's just solely on Vincent D'Onofrio, then yes, totally 5 stars across the board. And yes, I am most definitely going to return for season 2, and I'm looking forward to it. We are going to take a quick break and then come back for 6 Degrees of James Franco. Are you a filmmaker? Do you want to be a filmmaker? Do you think you could make a film in 48 hours? Well, now is your time to test that theory. Pittsburgh, the 48-hour film project, is back for another wild and sleepless weekend of filmmaking. July 10th through 12th is the weekend that we are giving you. If you're not familiar with the 48-hour film project, this is how it goes down. We give you a genre, a character, a prop, a line of dialogue, and 48 hours to make a 4 to 7 minute film. All the films will be screened at the Hollywood Theater the following week. and we choose the best film of Pittsburgh, and that best film of Pittsburgh goes on to compete against all the other cities. Yes, this competition goes on in over 200 cities worldwide, so this is just a great thing to be participating in. Not only do you get to flex your filmmaking chops, but it's a good chance for your film to be seen by friends, family, and adoring fans. So, if you're interested in signing up, go to 48hourfilm.com/Pittsburgh. If you're not in Pittsburgh or near Pittsburgh, you should probably check the website to see if there's one near you, because there probably is one. So just go to 48hourfilm.com/Pittsburgh. You can also check us out on Facebook at Pittsburgh 48 Hour Film Project, and we're also on Twitter at Pittsburgh 48HAFP. The Pittsburgh 48 Hour Film Project is sponsored by Chatham University, The Hardware Store, Pittsburgh Film Office, and Rugged Angel Productions. So once again, go to 48hourfilm.com/Pittsburgh, sign up your team, and get ready to make some movie magic. Okay, we're back, and now it's time to play 6 Degrees of James Franco.
Welcome to America's favorite pop culture game, the best game since Kevin Bacon. You're listening to another version of 6 Degrees of James Franco.
Now, I have already figured it out, but D tells me that a TV show is unacceptable.
No, it's the exact opposite.
So,
Because this is a TV show. You can use TV shows.
okay,
If it was a movie, you'd have to go strictly movies.
okay. All right, so Charlie Cox, Boardwalk Empire, to Gretchen Mol, who played Michael Pitt's mom. Gretchen Mol to True Story with James Franco. Done. Done.
True
That's
Story.
it. That's the new movie that's out with him and Jonah Hill. Didn't have to use Spider-Man at all, or Freaks and Geeks this time around. It's a new one. It's all right. So, do you have anything more you'd like to add about your 2 cents about Daredevil, or anything you're looking forward to besides more awesome D'Onofrio?
No.
Okay, thank you. Well, other than the fact that I am very much looking forward to seeing more Vincent on Daredevil, and awesome fighting stylings of Charlie Cox, and to see where all these other characters go, and hopefully it just becomes a better show, and they just continue to grow a little bit more.
Fighting style of Charlie Cox stunt man.
Right, and I'm sorry I forgot your name already, but I did mention it earlier. So, also, just a sidebar, I don't know if in the movie Daredevil could see in the rain. He cannot do that in this TV show. I'm unclear about if that's something from the comics or not. And I know I could Google it, I could look it up, but I want somebody out there to tell me. Give me Daredevil's backstory. Let me know what's up. So you can tweet us. Oh my God, my iPad just went out. You can tweet us at DTW Podcast, or you can talk to us on Facebook at Down to Watch Podcast. And you can also send us an email at downtowatchpodcast@gmail.com. And please subscribe to us on iTunes and rate and review. That really helps us out. And I am Kay, and thank you for listening to Down to Watch.